So for the knife position itself, we have got this full range here. So we've got 0, which is the setting for the standard cutter bar, all the way through to 600mm here. And if we go from here backwards, we can actually go 100mm behind the standard setting. So if you need to use this, we can push the table all the way out for the larger, taller crops. Or if we have a shorter crop, we can actually go backwards and actually make it a lot shorter. So the position of your knife fore and aft will depend entirely on the height of your crop and the volume of crop that you've got coming in. So you can actually push the table out or bring it back in just to improve that crop flow onto the auger at the back. If you have a Montana TUCANO, you might find that the height of your Montana will also tilt the knife slightly forward or tilt the knife slightly back. Just be aware of that if you are using lifters on the front here, that you might find that the lifters are actually starting to push the crop down if you are going too low. And the same goes for pushing it fore and aft. You might find that the crop lifters may or may not help, so taking them on, taking them off will depend entirely on your crop flow through the machine as you go through the day. For the auger itself, settings wise, we can raise and lower it to get that even crop flow through the machine, and I'll come through to the setting for the auger height on the other side. The reel itself can be placed fore, aft, up or down. It is enough power in it to actually lift the crop up and place it onto the knife so that you can cut the crop correctly. So the position of the reel is entirely up to you where you want it. These positions can be saved in auto contour, so when you put the cutter bar down into work or even out of work, the reel will automatically go back to that position that you've saved. You can, while you're driving, you can adjust it, small positions, small increments fore and aft, just to suit the crop as you're going along. So for the divider, we have got a number of things that we can do. We can adjust the divider up or down, and we can also make the divider wider here. So to make it up or down, how we do it now is we need just the panel spanner that we normally have. We loosen off these two bolts here, and then just with this center bolt here, we can actually jack the side knife up or down. The best position for this is put the cutter bar on the ground, on level ground, and then the correct height for this is this should not touch the bottom. If you can get your foot underneath here, that is a very, very good basic setting for this divider. To remove the divider itself, so do keep an eye on for any damage or anything like that, but to remove the divider itself, lower the cradle, lift the handle, and then pull it out. To refit it, be careful because we need to do this with a little bit of force. Jam it back in, lower the handle, and make sure that the handle locks in. If the handle doesn't lock in, then this divider, and also when you fitted your side knife as well, if that doesn't lock in, it means it's not locked to the cutter bar itself. So do make sure that that locks in, and then set your divider up to the height that you want it. So for the setting of the auger itself and also the retractable fingers, there's a couple of things we can do. So to make the auger more or less aggressive, what we have is that we have this bar for adjustment here. You need to loosen off the bolt in the middle, and be aware you must have something on this side here, otherwise it might go over to the center. So do keep an eye on that when you're doing this. Remove the bolt, adjust it to get your retractable fingers more or less aggressive. So this is the point at which they come out, the most furthest out, and then grab the crop and pull it in underneath to make sure that the crop then flows to the center of the cutter bar. So that's that setting there. The other one also is the actual height of the auger itself. So the height is adjusted here with this jacking bolt. To do that, we loosen off the 4 bolts. By the way, we do this exactly the same adjustment on the other side of the cutter bar as well. Loosen that off. We then raise or lower it using this, and the standard clearance is 15mm at the bottom of the flight. Jack that up or down, and then once we've got the correct setting this side, we must make sure that we do the setting on the opposite side of the cutter bar as well. Once you've done both sides, make sure that all the bolts are locked off, and then you're good to go. If you do adjust this, please make sure that you do adjust the scraper on the rear to get the right setting, and I'll come to that scraper setting in a second. Settings wise for the skid itself, there is a number of settings that you can do. Obviously the further down it is, the higher the knife is off the ground. You can set it all the way up, and I'll show you in a second, but you do have these number of settings here, and it's to do with this plate. If you do want to adjust this and you are underneath the cutter bar, please make sure that you've put the ram stop in so that the cutter bar is safe. When you do adjust this, remove the bolt here, loosen off and remove the bolt at the top, lift this up, and then secure the skid itself with the top bolt and the strap on the back side. So this is the skid itself in its highest position, and with it as high up as that, it means that you have now got a lot tighter clearance between the knife itself and the ground, so you can actually almost shave the ground itself. And also by keeping this up, it means that this is in less contact with the ground and there's less wear on it. So settings on this side, for the auger itself, the setting you can do is obviously raise and lower the auger itself. On this side, just like on the right hand side, you've got the 4 clamp bolts and the 1 jacking bolt at the bottom. So if you do raise or lower the auger for the different crops, then do make sure that you adjust the scraper. We'll come to that in a second. So adjust the height and make sure you clamp it back up. The other one as well is you can adjust the speed of the auger itself. These don't come with the cutter bar, so you have to order these separately, and what you can do is there is separate sprockets both here and in the back that will then change the speed of the auger itself, not the knife, just the auger. If you do change that, you will have to retension the chain as well. So it can be done to change the speeds. To set the reel tines themselves, on here on the left hand side we have this handle here. Just lift it up and either bring it down or back up. There are some holes in the back to make the tines more or less aggressive on the front, so that it grabs the crop sooner or later, okay, to help with that, bringing the crop onto the knife itself. So after we've adjusted the auger height and that, we need to then adjust the stripper plate across the back of the auger. Panel spanner again, just loosen off the bolts here. Once you've loosened off the bolts here, then we slide the stripper plate towards the auger itself. Once you've adjusted this, do rotate the auger a couple of times with the cutter bar up in the air to make sure that it's not touching on the auger flights. Once that's okay, then come back and nip these up, tighten these back up properly, and then you're good to go, because now the crop won't be allowed to come over the auger and over the top. So always make sure that that setting is right, then you've got less chance of the crop actually going over the top of the auger.